Good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners for the Eastchester Fire District. It is June 8th. It is now 7:02. And I would like to call this meeting to order. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let's please raise to salute the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right, thank you. And that is up Jamie.
So tonight we're looking at the financials through May 31st. There's a typo in my report, it says April 30th. They're currently presenting a net budget surplus of approximately $700,000. We have identified a handful of accounts where we know we will need a budget transfer. They're listed here. They include insurance, uniforms, hospital, and physician medical costs. We'll continue to monitor those accounts for transfers in the future. I don't have any transfers to recommend this evening. We have a summary of our construction projects that are ongoing. Tonight in the warrant report, you'll have the invoice for the plumbing, the water line repair at Station 4, which is being paid out of the general fund. For Treasury Direct, as we talked about last month, we did receive our full collection of tax, and we have begun reinvesting in Treasury bills through our Treasury Direct account in $3 million increments. The current rates have gone down slightly, but still almost 5%. Also included in tonight's warrant, and I apologize, it was a late addition, but our PERMA renewal is coming up with a renewal date of July 1st. So as you remember, last year the board entered into a 2-year contract with PERMA for our workers' compensation insurance. At the time, they had provided a range, what we could anticipate the year 2 cost to be, depending on how good or bad our loss ratio was. So we did come in on the lower side, on the still having a loss ratio of under 45%. The New York State assessment, which was estimated, came in a touch higher. But we are still getting a 2% discount if we prepay, which is what we have done historically. So the current amount, which is also included in the warrant for this evening, is $235,154. So that's the warrant 2 that was added today into the warrants for your review. All the coverage is the same. Again, it's identical. This is the contract that was signed last year. A couple of things for this evening. One is that the chief and I had circulated to the board for consideration some updates to our credit card policy. The policy was last revised in 2018. The chief and I currently are the only 2 that have credit cards. We have an individual purchase limit of $1,000, and the policy itself had some contradicting guidance on whether it could be used for travel. There was one section where it said it could not be used for travel, and another section where it said you have to get it approved when you use it for travel. And so, when the chief goes to a conference or whatnot, obviously he always asks for permission, but the language was contradictory. We're finding, specifically with our secretary, our maintenance mechanic, and our auto mechanic, that there's a lot of times where they need something immediately, and it would, whether like Hank the other day, it took him like 2 hours to track down a part, and he had to go pick it up, and there's not the time or the ability for the chief or I to go purchase it for him. Same like around the election, there was a lot of times that Yisang would need to go pick something up. So with all that in mind, we were recommending that credit cards be issued to other members of the staff. You do have the ability to set individual purchase limits if that's something that the board is interested in. We also were requesting that the individual purchase limit be increased to match our updated procurement policy. So where it was historically it was $1,000 for an individual purchase, we are asking to increase it to the $2,000 that's in our current policy. The policy was circulated to the board a couple of weeks ago. It has already been reviewed by legal counsel. They were, fine with the changes that we were suggesting. So I know it's on the agenda for later this evening if the board is willing to consider either the updated policy as we've drafted it or wants to make any additional changes. But that's our request. And then final thing that I have, it's June. Before you know it, we're going to be talking about the budget, pretty much in earnest come August. So at this point, I am just soliciting any feedback, any ideas, if there's anything either the board or the chief already anticipates or is maybe planning to propose for the 2024 budget. The sooner I have that information, the sooner we can start working on it. Unlike in previous years, we don't have any carryover available to us because we did exceed the tax cap last year. So you can estimate that if you want to stay within the tax cap, you will have like a true 2%, which is approximately $400,000 to $450,000. That will depend on certain factors for the calculation that are not available yet. We know, again, just based on trends and the spending we're seeing year-to-date 2023, that there are certain accounts that will definitely need increases. Our insurance, the hospital costs, which were were underestimated for this year because they increased so much more than we anticipated. I know the chief has mentioned to me about starting up having partners in safety doing additional physicals and other testing for the members, so that's listed here as well. But to the extent that there's anything else that the board has in mind, it would be good to start putting that together so that we can maybe do another budget workshop like we did last year once we start getting into August. Okay? All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks, Jamie.
Chief?
Thank you, Commissioner. Good evening to everybody. Monthly activity report for May 2023. Total alarm activity is 306 alarms for the month. 7 were fire-related, and 153 were EMS or rescue type alarms. We gave mutual aid 3 times, twice to the city of Mount Vernon and once to Scarsdale Fire Department. Congratulations to the members that received life-saving awards from the Westchester Regional EMS Council. 14 members involved in 3 separate EMS CPR saves received this recognition. Due to the Canadian wildfires causing local air quality index to be considered unhealthy, today and tomorrow, the fire department is giving out a limited supplies of N95 masks in front of the firehouses. With Chester Heights Firehouse being closed, we're not giving them out down there, but the headquarters, the North End, the Tuckahoe, and the Bronxville firehouses will have a table set up. People can just come, take some N95 masks for themselves or their family. We received a donation from the Bronxville CVS last year, and we're making those masks available to the public. We have plenty of supply in reserve for our members to use on calls, so we considered those donations were extra above what we needed, so we're offering them to the public today and tomorrow. Saturday, it seems like the air quality is going to get better, and ESON put this information on our website and social media platforms to let the public know. Vehicle and equipment maintenance is being done in-house as much as possible by part-time mechanic Hank. His report was emailed to the board on June 7th. The annual pump testing on the apparatus was completed yesterday, and all the apparatus fire pumps have passed their test. The aerial ladder testing is scheduled to be due in July. Tim Dalton's weekly maintenance reports for April were emailed to the board for May were emailed to the board on June 2nd. And fire prevention and code enforcement activities continue with numerous plan reviews and inspections. The fire prevention reports were emailed to the board on June 2nd as well. Captain Thomas Pinaval has requested an increase in the fire prevention overtime budget line. His request was forwarded to the board on June 6th. I would request that the board consider an increase. They're almost through their $15,000 budget at this point in the year. So I would recommend adding some money. That'll be a board decision, but they do a lot of plan reviews for sprinkler systems, solar panels, as well as building inspections, oil tanks inspections when they're, condemned and removed. So they are keeping quite busy in the fire prevention office. So I would like the board to discuss that if they would. Currently, there are 5 members out on long-term absence, and the 5 probationary firefighters in the Career Chiefs Fire Academy are doing well. They're scheduled to graduate on Friday, July 28th. The 4 Eastchester High School seniors participating in the WISE internship program, and the Tuckahoe High School senior completing his senior internship continue to ride in the apparatus. They go on drills and calls with the members, and their internships will be ending later this month. They have all indicated that it's been a positive experience. B&B Contracting Group is in the process of hiring subcontractors to begin the next phase of construction at the Chester Heights Firehouse, and we're waiting on our engineer, Joe Paterno, to reply to several requests for information by B&B Contracting Group. Down at the Chester Heights Firehouse, the water service line has been replaced and all interior connections have been completed, so that firehouse has water once again. At the Bronxville Firehouse, Acasella Contracting Incorporated has completed the side and rear stone wall retaining wall repair, and Flavio LaRocca and Sons, who were hired by the Bronxville Cemetery, have completed their section from the side of the firehouse to the front out to Midland Avenue. So that stone retaining wall is now in fairly good shape. And the final thing on my report is I request the board to allow me to charge up to $300 for one night stay in a hotel in Washington. That includes parking on the district credit card to attend the New York State First Responders Summit being hosted by U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand on July 27th. The cost of the room is $199.43 plus taxes and fees, and $50 for one-night parking. Unfortunately, New York State does not have a reciprocal agreement with Washington, D.C. to allow us to not have to pay the sales tax. So it looks like we're going to have to pay the sales tax on that. So we have a question into the attorneys, but if they say we're not able to get a tax exempt for the hotel room, that's why I said up to $300, because I don't know what the taxes will be on the hotel room if we have to pay them. And that request was emailed to the board on May 30th. That's the end of my report, unless anybody has questions.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
I went as quick as I could.
Good job. Good job. Good job.
Don't you have a piece of your house in Washington?
No, I'm in Tuckahoe.
The White House, that's a piece of you.
Well, that's true. We probably pay taxes on that, but I don't reside there 6 months out of the year.
Okay, thanks, Chief. Isam, your report, please?
Sure, Commissioners. For community outreach for the month of May, our website metrics 667 visits. Once again, the hiring process is our top performing page. In May, 7 posts were posted on our social media accounts for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And in the June newsletter I'll send out on Monday, June 12th. For foils, our office received 8 foils in May. And then for the records digitization project, after the initial stage of archiving and consolidating records at headquarters, we're changing how space is used in the front office. As requested, the office admin discussed ideas for renovating the front office, hallways, and the captain's office. On June 5th, I submitted these ideas and accompanying quotes to the board for consideration. To date, I've received 2 quotes for digitizing the records and imaging services as well. I'll present my findings. My goal is to send a proposal for the July meeting, so hopefully I can have everything set by then, and we'll also submit the manual and the reports that were sent by our consultant. And then for the inventory clerk, she is scheduled to start in early July, so the anticipated timeline is she will be done within a month to inventory about 300 cubic feet of records, and then I will update the board as well what to look forward to for new space as well, since that should clear up even more after the initial destruction of the records earlier in the year, and regular office tasks as needed. So, thank you.
Well done.
Thanks, Isam. Okay, so that brings us into business office recommendations, payment of bills.
Do you have to approve Jamie's report?
Her report?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. All right, just that.
Okay.
Although we do approve of it.
Okay, so first on the item here is payment of bills. Okay, so here we go. So I'll make a motion, be it resolved, the Board of Fire Commissioners approves to pay the bills and vouchers as presented. The board has been supplied with 2 sets of bills and 1 credit card bill. Chief Tween has reviewed all prior to the meeting, except associated claims, and those specifically marked as reviewed by the treasurer. Treasurer has requested the board approve the following. Warrant number 1, dated 6/8/23 for $350,066.67. Warrant number 2, dated July 1st, 23. It's the permit invoice for $235,154.00, and a credit card invoice or bill for dated 6/18/23 for $4,453.81 for a total of $589,674.48. I make that motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Manalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
No.
Commissioner Carla?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, that's on to other business. So as Isan mentioned about doing some work in in Station 1, the front office, and HVAC, floor, file cabinets, a few motions here. Anybody want to discuss that, what's going on? What do you want to do in the front office? Do you want to give more detail?
Like my response was when they first asked about this, the front office hasn't changed in 50 years that I've been here, since I first applied to be a volunteer firefighter. So it's way overdue to be done.
So what we're going to do is we're going to buy new desks for the front office. We're going to replace the window units, the ACs with the
Mini splits.
the mini splits, file cabinets for the front office, new flooring for the front office, I think down the hallway.
Yes, and the HVAC or the mini splits will also be in the chief's office, assistant chief, and the captain's
okay.
office, right? For them. And the small
And the
bedroom.
captain's bedroom.
There you go, yes.
So 5 units for one compressor will run the 5 units.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Huh?
What are they, something like these here?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh.
Probably not that big, but,
Yeah.
because a couple of them were like 9,000, and then the other ones were 12, so I think the bigger offices,
Got them in churches like that. Huh?
yeah, Assumption Church has them, yeah.
One compressor for all 5?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so first motion will be for the furniture. Be it resolved that the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners authorizes Chief Tween to purchase 3 desks and 1 file storage pedestal from National Business Furniture for a total amount, including shipping, of $6,452.62, as per quote number QM672326, dated 6/2/23. Can I get a second?
Second.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
Yes.
Commissioner Carla?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next is for the HVAC. Be it resolved that the Board of Fire Commissioners, Eastchester Fire Commissioners, authorizes Chief Tween to accept the proposal from Crown AC Heat and Power Corp. to install 5 mini-split units in each of the 5 offices at Fire Headquarters, Station 1, for a total amount of $23,612.33. Can I get a second?
Second.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
Yes.
Commissioner Carla?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next is for the file cabinets. Make a motion, be it resolved that the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners authorizes Chief Tween to purchase 3 file cabinets from Uline for the front office at Fire Headquarters for a total amount, including shipping, of $12,866.32, as per quote number 1461479, dated 6/1/23. Can I get a second?
Second.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
Yes.
Commissioner Carla?
Aye.
Motion carried.
And last one for the offices for flooring. Be it resolved that the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners authorizes Chief Tween to purchase flooring installation services, including the front office, hallways, captain's office at Station 1 headquarters, with the total amount not exceeding $10,000. Purchases will comply with the district's procurement policy. Can I get a second?
Second.
I'll give it to Ranalone. Commissioner Sarasi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
Yes.
Commissioner Carla?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
We got a few more things here. So we received a donation check from a resident. Be it resolved that the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners accepts a donation from, is it Kibong Kim, Soon Boon, and Kyung Sun Sun for $100. The donation was made without specifications or conditions and will be deposited into the general fund. Can I get a second?
Second.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi.
Aye.
Commissioner Lori.
Aye.
Commissioner Ranalone.
Aye.
Commissioner Keating.
No.
Commissioner Carlo. Yep.
Aye. Okay, we want to change, and you can talk this too, Isan, is we want to change the domain to a .gov address from .com. Is it .org or .com right now we are at?
Right now, we're at .com, so commercial address.
And
But
so for
as,
security reasons and,
yes, as Chief Tween mentioned, just with the rise in scams and also just wanting to let residents know that we are indeed a trusted government website, it would be highly recommended to move to a .gov. Westchester Gov recently went to .gov as well, so just to follow suit with what other municipalities are doing, that would be recommended.
Only municipalities are eligible for that address, so it's kind of confirmed, if you're allowed to get it, that you are a government organization.
Are we giving up the domain name for,
It'll be pointed, so if somebody goes to eastchesterfd.com, it'll forward them, right? Is that
Yes.
permanent, or is that just temporary?
I'll find out, but my understanding was if we're transitioning to .gov, they'll most likely put a message up that you're being transferred now to the new website. I'm sure it's something that
And
can
the
be held
same
on
with our
for-
emails, right? Our emails will then become .gov.
That would be something I'll ask them as well, because that would be,
That's through Onyx.
but we
yeah, so
should
that
give
we
it
have
up,
to,
meaning in the future, in 2 years, 3 years, now somebody else is using it.
Yeah, you want to make sure that we're keeping the rights to the domain name.
yes, so we would keep the domain name, but ultimately we'd be presented as .gov.
Right, and our email addresses are totally separate.
Okay.
So that would have to be taken up with Google and Onyx.
Okay.
okay. Therefore, be resolved that the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners authorizes Secretary Isan Smith to proceed with Civic Plus to change the district's domain name and web address from eastchesterfd.com to eastchesterfd.gov for a total annual recurring cost of $164. Can I get a second?
Second.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi.
Aye.
Commissioner Lori.
Just a question on, you said 164, that's per month or for the year?
Annual.
Annual
Yeah,
cost.
for the whole year. It was
Okay.
like
$164
$90 for one part of it, and then like,
All right, I'm good with that, okay.
164 million,
Yeah.
all right?
Commissioner Ranalone.
Aye.
Commissioner Keating.
Yes.
Commissioner Carlo.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, on to the Chiefs Summit. Be it resolved that the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners authorizes Chief Tween to charge a one-night stay on 7/26/23 at a local hotel for $199.43 and $50 for overnight parking in order to attend the NY First Responders Summit in Washington, D.C. as part of research for the application for the AFG grant for air packs for a total amount not to exceed $300. Can I get a second?
Second.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi.
Aye.
Commissioner Lori.
Aye.
Commissioner Ranalone.
Aye.
Commissioner Keating.
Yes.
Commissioner Carlo.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, the credit card policy, which Jamie brought up in her section, I think it's something we should do. It's a matter of convenience, and it's not going to, I think, expose us to really any misconduct. So any discussion on that, but otherwise, I'd like to move forward with that one.
Yes, I would second that if you want to do that.
All right, so I'll make a motion, be it resolved that the Eastchester Board of Fire Commissioners adopts the revised credit card policy that will supersede the April 10th, 2018 version. Can I get a second?
Second.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi.
Aye.
Commissioner Lori.
Aye.
Commissioner Ranalone.
Aye.
Commissioner Keating.
No.
Commissioner Carlo.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next one is going to be about, we have a topic of our municipal training officer. This is something that we've been discussing, I guess it's been up for discussion recently. I'm going to let Commissioner Ranalone take this one since it's... it was his
Yes,
idea.
we have a lot of new members in the last couple of years. Matter of fact, I believe we have 16 members with approximately 2 years or less on the job currently. And they're being trained at the Fire Academy in Valhalla. It's an 18-week course. They get excellent training up there. They come back here, they continue their training. Unfortunately, depending on what group they're in, their training could be completely different in one group as compared to another group. So in order to standardize the training for the entire department, I'm proposing that we have a training officer / MTO position, municipal training officer. And this is what it would be. The work schedule would be 4 10-hour days each week. The normal schedule could be Monday through Thursday or Tuesday through Friday. The goal is to cover 1 day in each group every week. The vacation schedule would be the same number of hours as Local 916 members are assigned to the fire prevention, which is 5 weeks for 40 hours per week, or 20 10-hour day tours. Days. The salary would be 10% above lieutenant base pay, or the same pay as the CBA position lieutenant assigned to fire prevention. The member must have Fire Instructor 2 certification within 6 months of being assigned to the position. The member may be designated as the Department Municipal Training Officer with New York State Office of Fire Prevention. The member will receive holidays off as per the current CBA if scheduled to work on the holiday.
Excuse me, I have to interrupt here. This is a position that would have to be negotiated, so I think it would be better if we don't discuss specifics right now before negotiation.
Okay. I understand. All right, I understand.
Thank you, John.
But this is a position that I've suggested that we have, and hopefully we can come to an agreement as far as...
Fine, we like the idea, but it has to be negotiated, and just as we wouldn't discuss negotiations in public, I'd rather not discuss specifics of this position in public.
I understand.
Okay. So we'll shelve this for the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. That brings us up to our last topic, which would be the fire prevention overtime that Captain Pintaval had mentioned. As the chief mentioned, we are at 15,000 right now annually.
Last 3 years, I think it was budgeted for 15,000. Before that, it was set at 40,000.
Right, it was 40,000 for 19 and 20, and then 15,000 for the last 2 years plus this year.
Right, right.
So for an additional 25,000, his job has kept him quite busy. I think it's something that we need to approve, so I am for making that motion to increase the overtime budget for the fire prevention to 40 from 15 for 2023. Can I get a second on that?
I second it. This doesn't have to be discussed the way John had,
No,
but
no.
the other one, okay,
No, it's a budget item.
okay, all right, I'm just asking.
So I have a motion for the budget transfer, so we know where we're going to, it's not in there, because I didn't know if you were going through with it,
Okay.
but I looked at if you were going to move forward with it, where we could take it from. So there's a budget transfer related to that. So do you want me to read that now?
That'd be great, thanks, Jamie, yes.
Okay, so it would be a motion to, we're saying up to the $40,000, right? So we're going to move another $25,000 in? Is that what the board is suggesting?
Yeah.
So it would be motion to transfer $25,000 from GL 3090.2 certiorari to 3413.2 overtime fire prevention. Okay.
I'll make a motion, second?
Second it.
I'll call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lori?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranello?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
No.
Commissioner Carlo?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, before you move to Local 916, just to let everybody know that our next meeting will be on July 13th at Town Hall here. So that moves on to any comments from Local 916.
I just very surprised that there's no mention of Station 4 when I'm looking at HVAC units and flooring and all these updates for headquarters, and there's absolutely no mention of Station 4. I was approached by Commissioner Ranello that we could discuss this in executive session, and that never happened. So I don't want to discuss it further here, but it's just very surprising to me that I'm looking at all this and there's not one mention of Station 4.
Well, the chief had mentioned, I think earlier in his conversation, that where we are right now with B&B and the subcontractors, so I'm not sure what your concern, John, is with us doing work at Station 1, which is not a whole lot of work compared to, it's not going to take away from Station 4 being finished. We're still working on getting their subcontractors in to do the work. What's your actual concern, really?
Did you get any updates as of today on Station 4? Well,
Love it.
Chief, would you mind?
Sure. I spoke to the owner of B&B Construction Group. They think they have their 3 contractors lined up, the general construction, the plumbing, and the HVAC contractors. They're waiting for some responses from our engineer, Joe Paterno of Universal Engineering Services. B&B had put in 12 questions regarding the job because the original plan showed some existing steam piping in the basement, but when they were putting in the concrete floor and the steel beams in the basement, some of that piping and gas lines had to be cut away because it was right where an I-beam was. So that wasn't anticipated in the original mechanical drawings for the next phase. So B&B most likely will want some more money to add those things that were supposed to be there. So they're waiting for an updated mechanical drawings from Universal Engineering Services. And I left a voicemail and sent an email requesting that. So they're waiting to start the work until they have the updated drawings. So we're waiting on an engineer to do new mechanical blueprints or drawings to show what's existing now as opposed to what was drawn 14 months ago. So once that updated drawing gets done, they can tell their plumbers and HVAC guys to start working. So, they may call me tomorrow and they may come out and have the drawings done in a week, or he might not call me for a week and then, the drawings will be done in a month. So B&B is anxious to get in there. They're just have to make sure they know exactly what they're doing because what they were hired to do, there's additional work now. So they want to make sure that that additional work gets approved. But we have a signed contract with them. Both parties have signed an agreement. It went out for bid, and, we can't just walk away from it.
Do you have a closing date on those signatures? That it has to be completed, like, say, July 1st or
No,
August 21st?
I don't think there was like
They didn't put anything in
a
there
60
like
day.
that?
I know the original contract with Vinco was like 60 days, but that took 18 months. But
Right.
when there's delays out of their control, you can't blame B&B, right? Like if they're waiting for updated drawings and they don't get them, how can you say like they didn't do their part of the deal? They had valid questions based upon what they were hired to do, and they can't do it. It's like, if you're supposed to change oil and the car doesn't have any spark plugs in it, and they complain that the car's not running, you need extra stuff, and you gotta, most likely there's gonna be additional charges. So, they want to get started, but they're waiting on our engineer, not their engineer.
But could they do demolition work in the meantime?
Um,
Because our goal really, John, is to get these guys back into the house before October, right? We want them back in the house. So if we get, and a lot of the concern was if there's like demo work and the dust and debris and noise. So if we can get that part done, there's got to be something they can do in the meantime that can get these guys back in. So after they're back in and everything's been demoed and cleaned up, the guys can live there somewhat. If you need space heaters, fine, but get them back into the house before the fall starts. So there's something we can do. If something they can do, I don't know if they can, Chief, or not, but if they can just.
I'll call them tomorrow.
I'm sure there's something they can get their hands on, do something in there before waiting for the drawings.
They know we're anxious to get in there. I call them every week and, say what's going on. And,
But everyone wants them out of the society, John, more than, we all want them out of there. I mean, I know they like to read history and all that stuff, but.
These big jobs evolve, right? And things happen, things come up you don't even anticipate. So they do. They sort of accordion away from what the expectation is. So it does take a while, and we can't walk away from them because it's taken a little extra time. We'd love to see you guys in there.
So, Rick, we had a history with Station 6. You weren't around that time. And
Thank
it's
God.
becoming and it's, the conditions they're not good conditions where our members are living. So we're just trying to get them out, back to Station 4 by any means necessary.
And they want to go back in when things are not safe, right? Both air condition wise or, structurally. So that's the other thing. For rushing it back just because they want to get back in, I want to be careful up here. So.
We're hopeful that we'll actually be able to move in before the heating system is in, because the heating systems, we've been told, are going to be like a 5-month lead time. So if they could finish the bathrooms and the ramp coming in and put in all the ductwork and vents that they need to, and then just actually put in the units afterwards, we haven't had heat in that firehouse for 4 years, right? We have the baseboard heating in the dormitory and the kitchen and the bathrooms. So, we feel like as soon as they're done with the creating dust and removing walls and things like that, that they've agreed, B&B Construction Group has agreed that we can move back in, and then they can work around us when they're going to put in the HVAC systems. And the steam boiler is on the side of the basement that, isn't really going to affect our guys. We could shut the door between the apparatus floor, and they can come in and out the front door and go straight into the basement. So that's the plan. So as soon as they get the bathrooms habitable and the front ramp so that there's no blockage, they don't have wet concrete by the front door, that, we're going to move back in. So, and then they'll just work around us when they have to do like the HVAC system in the attic above the dorm, and then the steam boiler in the basement. So,
A few ACs in the other firehouse and a few desks are not going to impact. They're both independent of one another. So, maybe frustrating, but you're not the only one frustrated.
yeah, we don't like keeping the rig outside. It's not ideal for the rigs, and it's like you said, it's not a good situation for the guys, and it's not a good situation for the Historical Society. They want to get back into their library and be able to use it for their functions, so it's frustrating how long it's taking, but it's, like he said, sometimes the projects evolve, unexpected setbacks. So we're keeping on top of them, it's like I'm making calls every week, like I said, so hopefully they can move forward quickly.
Anything else, John? No, thank you. Thank you.
All right, anything from the public? Mike?
What are the hours for handing out the mask to the community at the fire
We just have them
station?
set up on tables in front of the firehouse, so it's kind of self-serve. Just, we have 2 boxes. Each box has like 400 in them.
Yeah.
So, when I left the firehouse at 5:30, they were still outside. So, and if they're not outside, they can knock on the door. If the firemen are there, they'll give them to the public.
The reason why I'm asking, there's a lot of seniors that live down in Chester Heights,
Sure.
and they don't have transportation, they don't have a bus that takes them any place into the heart of town. It's
Yeah,
forgotten
yeah.
territory, if you will. Maybe we could put a table up there, it's just food for thought, maybe in front of the house, and just, here's a table, and please come and help yourself if you need a mask.
Yeah, we can arrange that for tomorrow. We
I
can
think
put
that-
something
I
down
think
there
that
for
might
tomorrow.
be, a good idea. And I'm glad to see that there is some work going on down there. I spoke to you,
Yep.
Chief, when you were down there with the architect and some
engineer,
contractors.
yeah.
And they were walking around inside the building, and I happened to stop by to see what's going on, because, we do live there, and we do want that house to, be completed. And I do understand what you're saying. It's like if you open a wall, you don't know what's behind it. But it's taken a long time, and hopefully, we're going to be on the right path now. And that's it. Thank you, okay?
Thank you.
But just give that to some consideration for the senior citizens. If
Sure,
we do put
we'll
a-
set it up. I'll contact
do-
the maintenance
yeah,
worker, and
you know,
he'll
just
set
put a
them
mask-
up tomorrow.
a table out
Do you
there.
have any
and-
masks tonight?
Maybe in my car.
Just give Mike some in
can
case he
see.
knew they were.
I would only have 1 or 2.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Comments from the commissioners? Mr. Sorasi?
None.
Mr. Ranello?
Just attended several parades and functions with VFW. Also, memorial mass at Immaculate Conception for deceased firefighters. Also at the monument. And that's about it.
Tony?
Yeah, just like to ask the board to have a moment of silence for, this past week was D-Day, 79th anniversary of D-Day. As Commissioner Ranello said, we had memorial services for the volunteers, and we had a breakfast afterwards. And also, I'd like to ask the board for June 28th, if we could use the maintenance truck so we could pull our hose cart for the Mamaroneck Parade. which is, I think it's a Thursday night, the 28th, or if we could use it, like we used it last year. We pulled our hose cart and we put our food in the back so the men could have some refreshments before the parade starts.
I think the only caveat is that you drive it, because
Yeah.
you would be covered as a
Yeah.
commissioner for the
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah, just like I
Nobody
did
else would.
last 2 years, Chief, if we get the
Yeah, I mean,
approval.
it's up to the board, but
Yeah.
there was that caveat that
Yeah,
you were the
I-
driver.
I was.
Vote on it?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good.
June 20th, it's a Wednesday, June 28th.
Yeah, okay.
All right, just so you know.
And parade starts at 7. We normally pick the vehicle up around 5:30. We pick our food up, we go
Okay,
to where our lineup, so we just got to get approval from the board.
let's take a vote.
Are you making a motion, Anthony?
No, I can't make the motion because I'm requesting it.
You can make the motion, but anyway, I'll make a motion to, for Commissioner Laurie to use the
Maintenance truck.
maintenance truck on June 28th, Wednesday, in Mamaroneck for the parade.
I'll second it.
Call the roll. Commissioner Sarasi? Commissioner Laurie? Well, as in,
Could I vote on that?
You can abstain. I mean, it's up to you.
I'll vote on it, but if it's not,
I would abstain, yeah.
all right.
Commissioner Randalone?
Aye.
Commissioner Keating?
No.
Commissioner Carlo?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Also, Sunday, the volunteers are giving the scholarships out to our students from the 3 high schools, and I'm extending an invitation to the chief and to the board. It's at Fogarty's at 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, June 11th. I know we have some men that were volunteers now that are underpaid personnel, their children are receiving it also, so. It's Sunday afternoon, it's just a little ceremony that we do every year. So the board's invited with an extension to the chief also, and to our local president. Your invitation is extended to you too.
What time was that?
1 o'clock Sunday afternoon at Fogarty's.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank the chief for putting out a rig for us for our memorial service on the 21st, and for the 2 parades that we were in. And I also thank the paid personnel for marching in the parade with us on both Bronxville and Eastchester and Tuckahoe parade. It seemed pretty good success in Tuckahoe, and I think hopefully next year may be bigger. So, thank you again, Chief.
Oh, you want to mention the Flag Day?
Yes, also, the 14th, I had mentioned to the chief we could have a rig, and he did apply, okay it, and extend the invitation to anyone who wants to come at the American Legion up in North End at 5 o'clock, between 5 and 5:30, the ceremony's going to start. And also, after the flag burning, there's a little barbecue going on that everyone's, who attends the flag burning ceremonies, welcome to the barbecue.
And that's next Wednesday, the 14th.
Exactly.
And what, it starts at what time?
Between 5 and 5:30, they're burning the flags. They got a little ceremony with the veterans, and sometimes the scouts come out to help also.
Okay, great.
And that's my report.
Mr. Keating?
I'd like to thank John Howard for jumping in on the MTO-related items. I didn't discuss any of that with anyone, so I appreciate your dealing with it appropriately. So thank you. That's all I have.
All right, well, we'll have a, before we, we'll adjourn, and then we'll have a moment of silence for the D-Day. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,